My name is Tom Oliva. I am the co-founder and executive director of the All-American High School Film Festival and Crave Arts. I learned pretty quickly. I was an English teacher, and in a matter of like a year, I ended up being like a digital production teacher. There was this huge void. There was huge demand for people being interested in this, and yet there was a total lack of resources available for students and for educators. And because of my relationship with Andrew and his rising status in Hollywood, we just kept having the same conversation. Like, why should athletes and scholars have opportunities that these young filmmakers don't have? We've got to create something that bridges this void. So I started looking at it really hard, and I started to put together sort of a model for what it could be. I looked at a lot of models for what it shouldn't be and learned from them, and then adapted from that to create what I thought was the most important thing: a grand stage to celebrate these artists for the content they're creating and to connect them with the resources and rewards that they deserved. I learned a lot about the heart and soul of the filmmakers that we support. The incredible maturity and professionalism and dedication to their craft that they possess. And I think I learned the same thing about myself and the kind of people that I want to work with. Like, this isn't celebrity stuff. This is grinding it out, tedious spreadsheets, endless calls to sponsors who, may not give you the time of day. Just, it's a grind. And seeing how that work evolves into something truly special that means so much to people, including myself, I think that's like what I've learned more than anything else. Maybe like the easiest way to say it is kind of like, if you build it, they will come. I believed in that from day one, and I was willing to do the work that it took to get to where we are today. And I have to say, it's incredibly satisfying to be here. And it's not, I don't say that because it's about me. I say that because we've built a community that truly supports emerging artists and offers them this year over $600,000 in prizes and scholarships. Like, I worked really hard for that, and I'm super proud of it. And the relationships I've made with these young filmmakers, they mean the world to me. And if there's a kid out there who thought, I can't do this, but I want to do it, and we gave the spark that allowed them the courage to continue, because this is all they want to do in the world, I can sleep at night. I think media literacy is more important than traditional literacy at this point. Um, I was an English teacher. I wrote a book on grammar. I'm not trying to dismiss the need for language skills, right? But the way that we communicate in 2022 and the way that we will communicate in 2032, I think requires an absolute understanding of media literacy. And if we're not teaching that in schools, if we're not supporting media creation in schools, then we're failing our kids. And I'm happy to be part of an organization that is promoting it. And I want to do everything I can to shift the narrative from maybe traditional literacy to more of a digital literacy. I study it, I read articles about it all the time, and I'm passionate about it. And it's different, but it's not bad. And I think if you watch the films that are the best that come in through our organization, you see a knowledge of how to take literacy, how to take storytelling, and elevate it through the medium of film. And that's what makes my job amazing. In the early years, obviously we're only 10 years old, but in the early years, the dream of a roadshow was just a myth, right? Like I wanted to travel the country. I wanted to visit high schools and share peer created content as a way to elevate the skills and inspire the students who maybe had never told a film on the screen before, or who wanted to but didn't know where to start. That was like the whole goal. And I'm humbled by the fact that now I get to travel the world, like literally, going to foreign countries and traveling to high schools all around the United States. What happens when we visit schools is we share stories that are relatable and engaging. And we say, this isn't Hollywood. This is you at the highest level. And then we break down those stories and say, you have the same stories, you have your own unique stories, but here are the little elements, here are the skills that you can use to tell your own story in this way, and the impact is incredible. I mean, the roadshow is the highlight of my year. Beyond the festival, the highlight of my year. I love going to communities. I love seeing what schools are doing. I love seeing what they're doing and realizing, okay, how can we take what they're succeeding at and being supported with and take it to schools who have nothing and maybe build up a program somewhere where there isn't one. The future of film for me is about recognition, resources, and rewards. And if I prioritize that list, the first thing would be resources. When I started this thing 10 years ago, there literally was nothing. I mean, I was in the classroom and it was like, you get some computers and it's like, create a film program. And I know there are many, many schools. There's 35,000 high schools in this country. More than half, probably 90% of those schools don't have anything. So any teacher who's tasked with this is like, well, where do I begin? Let's find a place to start, right? Let's work with partners. Let's start to bring in these resources so that your students who have stories to tell and are incredibly creative can elevate their craft. And then the next part is the recognition. Well, okay, so you make something. It doesn't matter. It just ends right there, right? You write an essay in school, you hand it in, you get an A or you get an F or somewhere in between. How can we take that thing and create a grand stage for it, like a national championship with all the tiers? Because that's motivating. It makes you want to work harder. It makes you want to, invest in all of the resources on our website, right? Take advantage of all of them. And then the last part is, man, if you're really good at this, why should you not get a full ride scholarship? I mean, this year we're providing like 8, 10 scholarships, some of which are full rides. I'm incredibly proud of that, but more importantly, they're incredibly deserving filmmakers who are getting those awards. And I think that's what the future of film looks like. And I guess the future of film for me is on my screen every day. And no matter what the students who submit to us are doing, I see the influences. They're adapting. Their understanding of the medium is way beyond anything that I had growing up. And I think they're getting better for it. And it's incredibly inspiring for me. Never stop creating has been adapted as a maxim for our organization because it epitomizes what we want our community to embrace. Don't be afraid to tell your story. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to put your art out there and share your voice. You never know. And sure, you may share your film with us, your story with us, and it might not be ultimately successful, but maybe it will. And I've always thought that you learn way more from failure than you do from success. I think this festival is a great example of that. In the early years, man, I didn't think we were going to make it. Here we are 10 years in. And I encourage all of our community to have that same spirit. Never stop creating, keep believing, keep pursuing your passion.